Okay, Lieutenant. In 20 words or less, tell me why I suck. Time's up. Hello and welcome back to another episode of TrekHammer, where we're talking about the latest episodes of Star Trek Discovery. This one is episode 3. Let's get straight into it. So what we've got here is something that feels very much like an episode of Deep Space Nine, and also an episode of Next Generation, which is really good. It's classic Star Trek, and I'm really enjoying how Discovery has finally found its feet. At least it managed it before it got cancelled. Would have been better if we'd seen this from the start, but Star Trek is not like that. It takes a little time to work out what the characters are and what they want to do with those characters. So at least we got to see how much this crew and this writing team could absolutely shine. Really good. So we've got what is essentially a spin-off of The Chase from Star Trek, rather than The Chase from Doctor Who. Different story. We will be talking about that in the Doctor Who reviews. But it's a really good episode, and I really liked it. It had an interesting core story about identity and worth and value of the Federation, and hoping that the people of the future will have your views and your best interests, and making sure that you prepare for that and all of that. Really nicely done. Really enjoyed it. Nice callback to the Jintara from the Trill episodes in Deep Space Nine, complete with Raktajino. Really nice. I liked it. I saw what you were doing there and I appreciated it. A bit long term with the Jintara. I would have thought that they might have looked into some of the effects of such long term sharing of a mental state for a human, and possibly we will see that in a future episode, because of course Adira and the Doctor have now had the same sort of experience. That hopefully will bring that little family unit closer together, because they've got a shared experience there, which I hope we have the time. And this is the worst part about the fact that Discovery's been cancelled at the end of the season. I really hope that at this point we have the time for the writers to explore what was clearly setting up to be an interesting future thing that those characters can have a storyline about. Similarly, we've got our new first officer, and he is clearly Picard without the charm, Kirk without the charm. He's got the core of being a Starfleet officer, but what he doesn't have is the respect of the crew or the personal ability, the interpersonal skills to bond with a crew on a very quick basis. I hope that he will, because this character's clearly got potential, but again, this feels like he's on a multi-year arc here, and he's not going to get it. Discovery has been the victim of essentially the new style of streaming service episode lengths. We get 10 episodes because Netflix found that after 10 episodes of a season, viewers are wanting to watch something else. So it's driven every other streaming system to go, right, 10 episodes and done. We go on to something else, and then we come back for another 10 episodes later if it was popular. And unfortunately, Discovery wasn't popular at the start. It got a big hate campaign. People hated this thing. They didn't like how it was different. I get it. It was different. Different can be bad, especially when you're coming into a 50-year-old franchise and shaking so much of it up. I get it. The problem is that Discovery found its feet and became good. Like, really good, like Enterprise did. But we're not going to see any of that. It's a real shame. And I hope that it doesn't mean that we get cut off in the middle of story arcs, like I've seen in so many other shows over the years that have fallen victim to the same thing with streaming services. And to be fair, not streaming services as well. There's been a lot of shows that got cancelled in their prime, or just when they were getting good, just when they were getting interesting. It does happen, and it's unfortunate when it happens to something that you like. But he's got an interesting character arc, and we see a lot of that in this episode, especially at the end, where he's able to show that he wasn't just being brash and going through the motions to do this in the most annoying way, what he'd been told to do by his captain. He actually had assessed everyone. He can assess people in 20 words or less. He knows exactly who this person is and what's important to them right there and right then. He's good at his job. He's just not good at making sure that people around him trust him enough to let him do his job, which I really, really, really want to see more of. I want to see where it's going with that, and I hope we do get to see it. In terms of story, yeah, great, enjoyed it. The characters worked well, the plot worked well, it moved along at a good pace. I enjoyed what we saw, and it was just nice to see all of that from stuff that we've seen in Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, getting to revisit that, but it's in the future now. I appreciate that. Overall, yeah, this is another excellent episode. I'm going to give it an 8.2 on the warp factor scale. So, warp factor 8.2, Mr. Sulu. It's a good one. I want to see more, and unfortunately, it feels right now like this is going to be it. There's no coming back from this. It's gone after the end of this season, and that's unfortunate. I now understand what Enterprise fans felt like, because I didn't watch Enterprise back in the day. I was off, I was busy getting out of university and going to work for the first time, and I just didn't have the time anymore. I was overrun and didn't get to see the show. So, I get what they must have felt like, knowing that their show was ending. And I sympathise, because this was a good show when it got going. It just took too long to get going. Anyway, what do you guys think about this episode? Do you think it was good? Do you think it was bad? Have I assessed in the way that you would appreciate, what you would agree with? Or do you think I've missed what you thought was bad or missed what you thought was good? Do let me know in the comment section down below. Let's have a conversation about Star Trek. But until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk Robinson. You've been watching TrekHammer, and live long and prosper. If you like the show, please consider supporting me on Patreon. It really does help create future videos. That's patreon.com/Zoe Kirk Robinson. And I've got an extra special thanks going out to Chief89, Sam Yates, Retro Mickey 82, Mo Henry, and George Bortorini. Thank you so much, guys.